Hello and welcome to your co-author project. I am so excited that you're here, and I know that your lead author is also very excited that you're here. We are grateful that you want to participate in this project, and we are ready to support you throughout this entire journey. So my name is Courtney, and I'm the founder of Leader Publishing. Now, it can be a little kind of weird and strange because some of you watching this may know me, maybe in person, maybe just through social media. And if that's the case, hello, and thank you for being here. It's so good to see you again. See you. Um, or perhaps you haven't heard about Leader Publishing until you heard of the co-author project through your lead author. So some of you I may have never seen before, and I wanted to say hello and welcome you and to give you an idea of kind of what to expect as you go through this process. So you're in module 1, you're at the very, very beginning of your project. Very exciting. There's a number of modules I'm going to take you through. And primarily, you're going to see in your author meetings and in your community, you're going to see your lead author kind of more front facing. She's going to be in there helping you navigate, answering questions. And that is the person that you should go to in order to get your questions answered and, for feedback and all of that kind of thing. For me, I'm a little more behind the scenes. I am focusing on the production of the book and making sure all of the aspects that are required to get this book from raw Google documents put together into one book and then set up well for Amazon in both paperback and ebook version. So I'm a little behind the scenes, like playing the tambourine, and your lead author is like the lead singer, just belting it out. So I'm here and I'm totally rooting for you, and I'm very involved in the process as well. I read all your chapters and I know the content and what you're talking about in your books very well. I'm just not the one that you'll see quite as frequently, except for in these videos. So there's kind of a blend between seeing your lead author, maybe via Zoom, maybe in person, depends on where you live, and working closely with your lead author, and then me, Leader Publishing, behind the scenes doing all of the production work. So hopefully that clarifies like who's doing what and where. We'll get into a little bit more responsibilities and who's responsible for what in a future module. But I want to welcome you to this project and help you to just kind of understand what we're doing here. I know you understand what we're doing here because you already signed up for this project, but just to help you ease into the process with a couple of tips, a couple of just kind of process overview to help you see where we're going, what we're doing, where we're at, and what the end goal is going to be. So welcome. I'll give you a little brief history of the co-authoring experience with Leader Publishing. So I started publishing my own books in 2018. I had a goal to write a full book, but of course, writing a full book is a challenge. It's a lot more writing, as you well know. And as you know, in this process, you're only responsible for one chapter, which is a lot more manageable amount of writing to, at the end of it, get a full book when you didn't have to write the whole book. So that's kind of the beauty of co-authoring. But I was trying to write my full book in 2018. I was a blogger at the time and had kind of a motherhood and confidence brand at the time. And I was struggling with writing the amount of content required for a full book, but I had it about half done. And then midway through the process, I started trying to investigate the process of like self-publishing. How can I get a book published without having to write the full book? Was there another option? And one thing that was really helping me at this time was journaling. I was struggling with my own like body image, self-esteem, just in postpartum after having my daughter. And I had been struggling for quite some time. And I started, for the recommendation of a therapist, I started journaling. And when I started journaling, I realized that I was kind of journaling a little bit about how I felt for that day, but then I started to come up with these prompts that I would do on a daily basis. This is not a new concept. It wasn't something that I was super aware of at the time, but now we can see a lot more journals and just like books that would take you through the same type of prompt on a daily basis. That's essentially what the self-love journal was. It was my brand name, which was Motherhood and Confidence, and then self-love journals was a journal for moms primarily. And I put that whole book together in Pages for Mac. Embarrassing. It is like hideously designed. It's still on Amazon because I believe in seeing your evolution from where you started, where you're going. But that was my kind of first toe dipping into the process of publishing. And it was quite a journey. It was difficult. It was full of challenges. There were a lot of things that I went through during that process, which I'm actually really grateful I went through because the difficulty helped me to learn and see how to do better after that. So I did that journal in 2018. And then in 2019, I did a girls journal shortly after. So there's one for moms and one for girls. And the whole time I was working on my full book, but again, it takes quite some time to write an entire book. I had this idea while I was at a conference in 2019 that I wasn't the only person who knew things about self-love. I wasn't the only person who had, kind of built a repertoire of strategies that I was using to learn to love myself more exactly as I was without changing. And so I put the call out on social media and asked if there were other women who were, learning things about themselves, figuring out this whole self-love concept, if they would be interested in participating in a group book where we are collaborating together. We're writing one chapter, and then I'm going to take what I've learned about publishing and process it for you. And so that mere question to social media turned into 20 women who were like, yes, sign me up. Where do I do this process? I want to be part of it. So that's where co-authoring began. It was mid 2019 when the first co-author book, which was called Self-Love Club, was established. And so we started through the process. I was obviously brand new at orchestrating a group of women to write a book, but it was such a fun and enjoyable process. And as we were going through it, I started getting more questions from women. Can I write two? I want to do another. Will you do another book? Is this going to happen again? And so shortly after Self Love Club Volume 1, which I think took about nine to 10 months to produce, I started getting people asking a lot of questions about being part of the next one. And so we came out with Self Love Club Volume 2. And those are the first two collaborative books that I ever hosted. Now, I wasn't Lead Her Publishing at the time because I was still operating under that motherhood and confidence brand that I used to run. So it was kind of a transition period where I thought I was going to use that same brand name. And then I ended up rebranding completely in 2021. And now I focus completely on publishing, and not only with co-author books, of which we've done over 20. I don't know the actual number, but over 20 different books, all written by women, over 500 different authors throughout all of these projects that we have done in various different topics, but always female writers, which I'm very excited about and love that about Leader Publishing. So I know we're over 20 books now, but I'm going to have to go back and do an actual count. And then after that, it slowly evolved into getting individual people who were asking me about helping them with their books. And I started Leader Publishing as like a full service publishing agency. So now we do both. And we've helped so many women go through the process of becoming an author through co-authoring. And I love this process because it's the most convenient, cost-effective, simple way that you can become an author. And it's also the most fun way because historically writing a book can be very lonely and isolating. And in addition to that, writing a full book is a huge commitment, takes up a lot of time. You can often run out of things that you even want to say. And perhaps you might not even have enough that you want to say on a particular topic, but you do have enough to contribute a chapter. So that's why co-authoring is such a special opportunity, because you don't have to write the full book. You don't even have to learn anything about the publishing process. You're just going to turn in your copy, and I'm going to take it from there. And your lead author and I are going to work together to create the creative direction for the book, the interior design, the exterior design, and we take care of all of the editing and all of the other things that are required for going through the process of publishing. And you don't have to do it alone. You get to do it in a fun group environment. So overall, it is such a fun process. And your lead author and I have now done this so many times that we really feel confident in the way that our process works, the level of support that we provide. And we're very excited to embark on this journey with you. So I sort of already talked about the benefits of the co-authoring experience, and I touched on the fact that me, the publisher, I'm kind of head of Leader Publishing, and I'm going through all of the production phases and managing all of that, project management for the editing, the design, the interior, the layout, the typesetting, all of that. And then your lead author is the one who you're connected to more closely, the person you would go to ask questions. And she is there to support you 100%. You will see that in the author meetings that you have. So do your very best to show up live to those author meetings. And then you'll also see it in the support provided inside your community. And then top level process overview, just to give you an idea of what happens. We break this down into 3 sections. So semester 1, semester 2, and then there's a spring break. It actually falls in between semester 1 and semester 2. A little different than a school calendar year, because although semester 1 and 2 are typically about 3 months or so, the spring break in the middle that, for in the school calendar year would be like a week, is also like 3 months or so in the middle. So we have semester 1, which is focused on your writing. Some of you may be able to write like immediately and get your chapter done in an evening. And that is great. If that's the style of writer that you are, that is awesome. And that is what you can do. You don't have to spend a bit of time every week working on your chapter. If you can sit down and write it all at once, that's great. Others may need a little bit more guidance. So just so you know, in the following modules, you're going to get a whole chapter planner to help you break down how to write your chapter, just tips and tricks for how to structure it, organization, the style, the structure, the format and flow of your chapter. All of that guidance will be coming for you, and that's part of this project. But just know that you can write your chapter in whatever way you like. Semester one, for about 3-ish months, we're going to be focused on the writing part. We also encourage you to make sure, even if you are a person who can write everything all in one sitting, please make sure you're still coming to the author meetings, listening to what your fellow co-authors are going through. You can even participate in answering questions if people are struggling with how to, write something or how to include or not include something. The first semester is all about writing. So however that transpires for you, whether it's every week you're showing up and writing a little bit, editing, going back, looking at what you wrote, adding, removing, whatever, the first semester is going to be focused on that writing phase. And the culmination of semester one will be submitting your chapter. So that's part one. Then we go on, once you've submitted your chapter, we go on a spring break for about 3 to 4 months. And this is when all the production is happening of the book. So we take it through, we first of all compile it all together into one manuscript. Then we're getting multiple layers of editing done and proofreading done. We're getting the cover design created. The finished edited version will then go into a typesetting process where we will design the interior of the book. You will get to see it again at that point. And this is when spring break is coming to an end, when we've got the cover finalized and we have the interior laid out and typeset for your viewing. Then as we enter semester two, you will get to review that document, provide any last changes. If something is misspelled or there's a Instagram handle has changed or something, you would let us know on that final review. And then we head into semester two, the marketing part. So we start telling people about this book, telling people the launch dates, telling people how to order copies directly from you, telling people about the ebook launch phase. So that's when we're pushing the book out into the world. I guess you could say semester one is like we're birthing it, and it's like we're pregnant. And then we're still pregnant in spring break. And then semester two, we're actually pushing the baby out. It's going out into the world in real life. That's another way I guess I could explain it. So yeah, that's kind of a breakdown of how the process looks. And then co-author communication practices. So I put in here like where it is and the purpose and the frequency. So right now, our co-author communities are being hosted on Facebook. So it's just a Facebook group. The reason I put co-author communication practices is because I don't know if that's going to change in the future. We might host them in a different place. But as you're watching this right now, they are hosted on Facebook group. If that changes and you're watching this module and you're like, that's not what I was told, Facebook group, just err on the side of whatever your lead author says when they email you and say, this is where we're going to be kind of living in our little community space. That's where you'll be. So it could be Facebook, it could be on another platform, but there is going to be one kind of hub for where information will be given, instructions for how to submit your chapter, PDF downloads, all of those things will be housed in that one place. And then the last thing I want to go over just in this module right now is for you participating on your monthly author calls. Come if you can, because this is a great opportunity to ask questions, to get to know your author team, because that is what makes this truly a very connected and even more fun experience than just writing a book alone. So please schedule those into your calendar as much as you possibly can, be there live for them, because that is such an essential part of this, is doing it as a team. So I'm going to go over your responsibilities in another module, but for now, I'm going to pause here so you can absorb some of that information. And your little action item or to-do list that you can do is to go into the community on Facebook or wherever your lead author has told you is where our community is, and introduce yourself. Post a photo, give us some of your likes and dislikes or your favorite things. Give us a background of who you are, your family life, your career. Like, let us know a little bio about you and get comfortable sharing that kind of stuff about you, because in the future, you're going to have to start telling people who you are and this amazing book that you were a part of writing. So we're going to get used to that right now. Okay, that's it for module one. You're going to see me in the next module where I will go over responsibilities, who does what your time commitment will look like as a co-author, and a lot of other fun things in future modules. So that's it for now, and I will see you in the next video.